Okay, my dear gentlemen, good morning for all of you. Just starting today, having the IELTS, as you know. Today, inshallah, we are going to have an IELTS lesson, right? Right. So, if we come to talk about some of the most important fatal mistakes that IELTS candidates make. So, what are these fatal mistakes that are done by IELTS candidates? So, whether you had the IELTS test before and got a bad score, or you tend to study IELTS in the coming days, you need to read these mistakes carefully in order to be able to avoid them while studying. What are these mistakes that you have to avoid, inshallah, in the future when you want to join the IELTS? Number one, doing self-study and getting a bad score, then doing that again and again. So, self-study, gentlemen, you have to work with a specialist in the IELTS field in teaching IELTS, not only to study by yourself and say that I'm gonna get a high band or high score, because the IELTS need a professional that goes with you step by step. Number two, taking a course with someone who is not specialized in English and even not qualified to teach English. So this is very important, gentlemen. When you want to have the IELTS, you have to take it with those professionals, with those who have the knowledge about the IELTS, because IELTS is not only a test in English, it's a test for your knowledge and your information. So you have to have it with those who are having the experience and having the knowledge about the test. Number three, booking a test without even knowing the format of the test or the techniques. Some students say that I'll book a day for the test, I'll book a test, and they do not have the knowledge for it. No, this is completely wrong. You have to have the knowledge, the information about the parts of the test and how to deal with every part of these in order to get a high band score. So, number four, downloading a large number of gigabytes of IELTS materials and confusing themselves. So, this is what I really know about some students, that they actually download a lot of materials, gigabytes, from speaking tests, writing, reading, and listening, but they do not have the knowledge of every format of these tests or the questions. Even they just download, but they do not read them, they do not deal with them. This is a fatal mistake, really. You have to avoid everything that you download. You have to deal with it, you have to expose yourself to the materials, because we have something in English called or a theory in English that is called language acquisition and language exposure. So when you want to have the knowledge, when you want to be more professional, expose yourself to the language, because exposure gives you practice, and practice makes you perfect. Right. So then we have number five, doing listening tests directly without being trained on the listening sub skills. You have to have a lot of knowledge about the listening sub skills in order the focusing and what to search for exactly, because the listening is not easy. You need to practice it. You need to have the sub skills to be able to answer the questions correctly and directly. Doing reading tests directly without being trained on the reading sub skills. Also, reading sub skills, you have to know about them, just like scanning, skimming, all of these methods by which you can focus on the answer directly and not to lose a lot of time or to waste time. 7, Answering listening and reading tests on a PDF instead of printing the test question paper. This is some students may try to answer the questions on a PDF in front of them on their laptops or iPads, PCs. No, you have to print the paper of the test and you have to have a pen and a pencil and try to write down to answer the questions. Not transferring the answers to the answer sheet. You have to have also a print for the answer sheet when you train yourself at home, because this saves time when you are in the test, that when you listen you answer directly in the answer sheet and not to waste time. So the answer sheet after doing listening and reading tests. Not making listening and reading their daily habits. Don't just listen for the test. You have to have a daily habit for listening and reading, especially. Every day you have to read. You have to go to the economist.com. You have to go to the guardian.com. You have to watch TED.com. You have to listen a lot. Expose yourself. This is language exposure, as I said before, if you remember. So language exposure makes you perfect. So you have to listen a lot, you have to read a lot, because this makes the language easy for you. 10. And everyone, for sure everyone at home right now is safe and having a lot of time. You can use that time in reading a lot, in listening a lot. So then number 10, not doing the writing tasks in the writing answer sheet. So also you have to print an answer sheet for writing and you have to train yourself on it. 11, wasting time memorizing words without even being able to use them in meaningful sentences. Some students may memorize a lot of words, but they do not use them. They do not put them in sentences. So it is very easy for them to forget these words. So when you memorize words, you have to train yourself on how to use them in meaningful sentences. 12. Not finding a good IELTS tutor to assess their writing. I said before, a professional specialist to assess your writing and give you evaluation, give you feedback, and figuring out their weakness points. You have to know about your weakness point or weakness points to be able to avoid them later, inshallah. Not following a certain type of structure for writing task 1 and task 2. So writing task 1 you know, and task 2 as we had before, you have to follow the type of structure that is asked from you. So 150 here, 250 there. Especially writing task 1, because it needs the examiner, the one who is having the test, to have the knowledge, a lot of knowledge about that type of the writing. Not paying attention to accuracy. You have to be accurate while practicing speaking. So practicing speaking for IELTS, accuracy in vocabulary, in grammar and pronunciation. This is very important for the examiner when he tests an examinee. So he focuses on his accuracy, his language is correct or not, his vocabulary, pronunciation, do you pronounce correctly or not? Because some may ask, do I have to speak American accent or a British accent? I tell them you have to speak the accent that is going well. No specified accent is required. You have to speak or to utter, to pronounce the words correctly. This is what the examiner is searching for, the correct or the right pronunciation of the words. Then, not having enough knowledge on some topics of in IELTS writing and speaking, language won't be enough. So here we say that you have to have the knowledge about a lot of topics. As I said before, read, because this is the food for your brain. As long as you read a lot, you're gonna have the information, you're gonna have the knowledge. Using literal meaning translation from their Arabic mother tongue to express themselves in English. This is a very important thing that you have to know. That is the literal meaning translation, because some may just like may translate just like the Google translation. It gives the translation with no spirit. So some translate like that. So you have to avoid this way. So listening skills. Inshallah, we are going to have a test here, as you see, some links for some tests, but after we finish that part, inshallah. So, listening skills, key facts about IELTS listening paper. Listening is the first section in the IELTS exam. This is the first one. They start with it because it needs more focus. The listening test is the same in both general training and academic training. So if you want to have the IELTS academic or general, it will be the same. Timing 30 minutes plus 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. So you have to know that there will be 10 minutes for transferring your answer. The listening paper has 4 sections with 10 questions in each. So you have to know that you have 40 questions. There are 40 questions in total, as we said, 4 times 10, 40. Sections 1 and 3 are dialogues between 2 people. 2 or more can be 2 or more people talking, but section 2 and 4 are monologues. Monologues means one person only is speaking. You will hear the recording once only, but answers come in order. So this is very important, ya jama'ah. The answers come in order. Marking whole or half band 7.5 or 8. So this what you will try to get, inshallah, because it's